What's up, guys? I'm here with Pavel Bosovic, the founder and CEO of 27North. He's going to be showing us a tour around the 27North facility where the Ascender is built, Venture Van is built, Venture Together, and Trekker is built.
Awesome. Hey, thank you all so much for coming out. It's an honor to host you and your team here and show you the awesome products and behind the scenes of how we build it.
100%. Before we even get into it, I just want to say, walking in here and even the entire outside of this building is completely next level. I've visited so many different builders, so many different dealerships. You walk in here and it's such an amazing experience. Everything is done so perfectly. Everything looks amazing. They got, tons of vans and stuff parked outside.
Yeah, our inspiration was the big company. So a lot of times people, when they look for inspiration, they look at one individual. And that's really hard because you'll never be that one individual. Another mistake people do is they'll find 3 or 5, 10 different people and they inspire to be like those people. What you got to really study if you want to build a successful company is companies. Because when you look at one single successful company, it wasn't one person. It was a collection of people. And their actions is what we need to study. The actions done within a certain company entity. So if you want to, start a car manufacturer, don't go study Elon Musk. Yeah, the guy's pretty awesome, but pretty crazy. Study what Tesla's done over the years. Study what systems they've done, procedures, their streamlined service, their awesome products. Study the company. And so if I could inspire anyone from what you see here today, from the vibe you get when you come to our showroom, to how clean our production floors and how we clean it weekly, we study companies. We study Boeing, we study Tesla, we study Toyota, we even study Porsche. And that's where we learn how to lay the groundwork for what we have just started to do here in our industry.
That's incredible. You guys are innovating. You guys are taking the industry to the next level. I always say the RV industry is like 10, 20 years behind. And it's nice to see someone finally innovating, right?
Yeah.
You want to tell us how you got started in this video?
Yeah, I personally, I have no idea how I ended up in it. It was never on my vision board. Thinking back and just self-reflecting, it was for the people and the people being the customers and clients in my life. So I had a little RV service center that expanded into an RV dealership, and customer after customer, just seeing how frustrated they were, how discouraged they were, how hurt they were. I'll never forget the day when I had one of my top customers come in with a brand new RV that they had just spent 6 figures on. And the gentleman spilled a thermos of coffee and the cabinet swelled, the floor swelled, the countertop swelled. And so my team, they stripped everything out of it. Insurance adjuster came, he's like, this is a total loss. And they were just so crushed because the doctors told them they have 3 years left of traveling for their retirement before they can't travel anymore. Well, at that time, RVs were 18 months, 2 years back ordered and more expensive. And so they're sitting in my office crying like, but our dreams are gone. And now looking at it, it's unreal, how far we've made as a company. And so that day I made a decision. I'm going to start building RVs where if you do spill some water or you do have an issue, you're not stuck in the service.
100%.
I remember joining forums and online groups and reading about customers spending 3, 6, 8 months in the service center.
Yeah.
I'm like, how and why? Like,
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, people spend so much time to buy an RV only to spend in a service center. So our motto here is we keep you on the road and not in the service center. And one of the worst warranty issues we had this year is we had a bad window, right? And so we sent a mobile repair technician to the customer's home. In their driveway, they swapped out the window and the customer spent 0 time in the service center, and it did not affect his travels in any way. And that's just what I want to continue to build on. And the legacy that I want to leave behind is we did it for the people. We did it for our customers,
100%.
not for ourselves, not for the industry.
And yeah, it's really important that you say that because ever since COVID happened, Vanlife went super viral. So many new builders popped up. But the thing I always say is that there's around 500 or so builders across the United States, but only a very small fraction of them are actually building RVs and vans that are quality, that are safe, that are reliable, right? You see stuff on Instagram and everything looks beautiful and polished in like the first few minutes of them being built, right? But what happens 3 months, 6 months, even 2 years down the line? Does that quality actually hold up? And in the case of 27North, they're obviously a certified builder. They do incredible, incredible work. So I've known Pavel for years and he has very, very high standards. He doesn't let any small thing slide. He makes sure everything is done to the highest standard. And so today we're going to be taking a look at their factory and we're going to get to see the behind the scenes of how the 27North vans are built, the trucks are built, so that you can make a buying decision confidently, right? you're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on these vehicles, and you deserve to know what happens behind the scenes so that you can confidently make a buying decision. Should we get into it?
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to show you guys around. I think I'll start off by highlighting the advice I was always given in buying a home. They said, come during construction and look at how clean the job site is.
Yeah.
If it's a dirty job site, it's going to be a poor quality built home. If it's a clean job site, then it's going to be a high quality built home. So here we have our offices. We've outgrown our offices. So we have about 15 people working remote. And then one person offices are filled with 2-3 employees. And then our showroom, we converted into marketing and sales floor.
Yeah.
So over here, one of the cool things about our new building, we have enough restrooms for all employees. In our old building, we literally had 2 bathrooms for like 45 employees. This is our vision board. So all our executives walk past this every day. And we've recruited executives from the top companies, and sometimes it's hard for them to visualize, the rate of a company growing.
Yeah.
And so that's the garage that we started in. This is the building that we're in. And then this is the building that we're under contract and planning to break ground on. The lot's already all prepared. All the infrastructure's ran. The street is laid. We just need to start building the building. And we're looking at Q1, Q2 of next year.
That's incredible, man. That looks amazing.
Yes, thank you.
And one other thing I'll say is that this company is growing so incredibly fast. I remember when I was here just a few months ago at the grand opening, and we're literally sitting at the grand opening of this building right here. And Pavel is talking to me about how they're already thinking and planning about buying another one because he knows how fast they're going to outgrow it, right?
Yeah.
And now I can actually, see it, at least the concept of it,
Yeah.
which, like he said, is going to be coming very, very soon. So that's incredible.
Over here, we have more executive offices. So accounting, executive offices. And here we have my office, kind of like my vision board, books that I like to read, some awards and stuff that I've gotten. Why I think so many companies fail is because they center around profits. Even big companies like Fortune 100 companies. That's why you see these startups that make it customer centric succeed. Don't get me wrong, profits are nice, but we don't care about it. It's not even on our vision board. It's not on our goals list. Our goal is making a perfect product. Recently, my R&D team told me that, Paul, you realize you can make a couple $1 million more net profit. That's money in your pocket if you switch and use the refrigerator and the air conditioning that everyone else in the industry is using. Just a cheap plastic imported from overseas, just 2 appliances. That's a couple $1 million in my pocket. And I look at him and I say, you ever bring that up again? Yeah. We're going to replace you and our entire R&D team.
That's incredible.
Like, we have to be centered about quality appliances, quality components for our builds. I'm a firm believer that sooner or later that success will come. Whether it's in 5 years, 10 years, it doesn't matter.
100%.
It doesn't matter. Right now, all that matters is giving our end user, our explore, thrill seeker, adventure, the ultimate experience off grid and on the road.
That's incredible. Yeah. I mean, as long as you're solving problems, as long as you're innovating, obviously the money will eventually follow. And you can see by just how fast they're growing and how fast Pavel is continuing to invest in the next thing and the next thing, the next facility. Like, he's all in. And I hear about it all the time behind the scenes as well. So that's incredible.
This is a famous couch that I think this is probably the first thing people ask me to show. Yes, I sleep a lot on it. I currently work 3 shifts a day. So I have my morning shift, my afternoon shift, and my evening shift. And so as you can imagine, it's kind of hard to run 18 hours without a nap. And so I'll nap in here periodically. I didn't have time to go out off grid because we have a lot going on right now with new factory, this factory, and the new lines that we're launching. I had my R&D department bring me some cushions over here and I napped on them. It was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, that's incredible. You got the CEO actually testing his products and making sure, like I said, every single little thing is to the highest of standards, which no one else, honestly, in the industry is really doing. So it's really cool to see.
This way, I'll show you a couple more of our offices. We were very green centered, so making sure minimal impact on the earth. Some things that we did is like we had land in the back that we converted into a park to make sure that it's never developed, ensuring that it's always kind of like conserved. And then some other things that we did is minimal water usage, energy efficient appliances. So we have finance, purchasing, multiple people full-time just managing. I think right now our purchasing and inventory department is like 5 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. Our warranty office, this is probably another really cool place. We have a couch set up in here. What's the downside of a service center? When you come into a service center, you're typically put in some lobby with a, CNN playing on the screen. Here, terrible to be next to the actual person in charge. So when customers are sitting here in the office, they're in the office with their customer service manager. So they can ask their questions, they can engage, have a conversation. They're not sitting there playing around on their phone looking at, service station. In addition, they get to see firsthand how we handle warranty, how we handle service. And it just makes that really tight-knit relationship between our staff and our end users.
That's amazing.
We have operations and then the actual interesting part right through here.
Wow, look at this.
So on this side, we're developing our new floor plans, developing our new truck. And so this is where in the next 90 days, you'll see a full-on truck production line. Previously, we imported our shell from overseas. We since brought that all in-house. We partnered up with a very successful mold manufacturer here in the US who's developed monolithic one-piece mold for us. And so our shells, or the cabins for our expedition trucks, are now not only going to be pure carbon fiber infused, similar to like the spoiler of an exotic car, they're going to be made here in Springfield, Missouri.
That's incredible. And what's the benefit of having it all as one shell?
The benefits of having it all one shell is we significantly cut the weight. So we're thousands of pounds lighter of our nearest competitor. In addition, it's one piece, so you'll never have cracks. You'll never have to lap seal. My vision for RVs is for you never to first go into the RV service center. And secondly, when is the last time you had to get on the roof of your car and lap seal something? It's kind of crazy. Like, would you buy a car if you had to go on the roof and lap seal?
Not at all.
No. So why are you spending 200,000, 300,000 on an RV and having to lap seal every year, having to maintain it? And that's the vision that I have for our RVs across the board. Right over here is our van line. So we'll start the van line in the beginning where it starts. Over here.
And I just want to say, like, everything in here it's so pristine, it's so shiny, it's so clean. Like, you go to other manufacturers and other builders and they got messes all over the place. It's so, you got to like watch your step and stuff like that. Over here, it literally feels like I just walked in for the first time and I know what's going on, right?
Yeah, so we get our floors professionally cleaned about once a week, sometimes every other week. The technicians are just really good at their jobs and keeping a clean and organized workspace.
The floors are almost as shiny as the vans.
Back here is where everything starts, and that's our wood shop. It's in the process of being converted into an aluminum shop, so please do excuse our mess. The last time I said that, someone said, your mess is cleaner than our operation. And so we are completely transitioning away from all wood products. So starting next year will be the final transition. Let me turn on the lights here. We'll make the final transition and be all aluminum. But right now, this is the final wood products that we have.
What are the benefits of going all aluminum?
So first and foremost is weight. Secondly is shelf life. Aluminum has a shelf life of about 2,000 years.
Wow.
Wood, you got about 30 to 50 years, depending on the environment. And then it's rigidity, it's or longevity, resilience. So you take wood, moisture, heat, cool, different climates, elevations even, and it's really, really hard on wood. Aluminum, you can take from, Mount Everest down into the swamps of Florida, and it still keep its original shape and quality.
100%. And you touched on Mount Everest a little bit. So I just want to ask you, what is 27 North?
So great question. 27 North is the latitude of Mount Everest. It also circumnavigates the world through like Florida, Baja, and a lot of really cool places where you'd find one of our expedition vehicles.
That's awesome.
So right this way, raw material comes in here. We cut all our own floors, our subfloors, our walls, our ceilings. It's all manufactured here in Springfield, Missouri. So it starts here.
I think it's fair to say that your mess is cleaner than other people's operations.
Thank you.
I definitely agree.
We have all our sauce through here. A lot of our trim moldings and things of that nature, our tables, our countertops are all handmade here in Springfield, Missouri. So every cabinet gets its own cart like this, and then it comes through here, gets edge band, and then on these tables, we have one technician per table, and they just assemble. And so they take a cart like this one. This is a set of cabinets. It'll be wheeled next to this table, and a technician will assemble it. Something else that's really neat. It used to be a real industry secret, but now that we're transitioning to aluminum, I'd love to share this with the industry, how we get away from using real wood. So it's a lot of times when we share that we use real birch, people start calling us out, oh, you're overweight, this and that. Birch is so heavy. Actually, it's not, because the way we do it is we cut out the dead space. So feel that. That's real
That's
birch
extremely
wood.
light,
It's lighter than the cheap particle board, furniture board at MDF the industry uses. So not only do you have the strength of a truss, we edge band it all around, is edge banded. And so you have a quality strong material. So this is steel wallet. You can't do that. You can't do that with a regular.
And it didn't even scratch.
Yeah. If you take the regular MDF vinyl wrapped, in the words of an executive within the industry, cardboard boxes, you can't do that. I remember one of the last RVs we serviced, and when we said we're not going to service RVs anymore, one of our technicians called me, and there was a dinette. And he took his finger, and he's, Paul, check this out. He took his finger and he dabbed it, and it went through the dinette bench. It was just a little 1/8 piece of, I don't even know if it was wood or cardboard or what, and it had a vinyl film on it. And he literally jabbed his finger through it. Here You got a nice, strong foundation, nice, strong cabinet.
Yeah. No, this is extremely, extremely strong, and it's very lightweight. Like when I was going to lift it, I thought it was going to be heavy. You know, when you think you're going to lift something heavy, so you're kind of flexing, but this was extremely light.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the next part. Over here, we have our quality control, aka compliance and engineering. And so we ran out of office space. So a friend of mine owns a company called BuiltBox Modular Manufacturing, and they build these awesome portable offices, and they're heated, cooled, they're private, so they're not getting interrupted. And so in here we have compliance on one side, quality control, and then engineering on the other side. And
This is really cool. I mean, it just goes to show how fast they're outgrowing their facility, even though it's been what, like 5 months since you guys moved it.
another neat thing, even our labels and our tags on the vans, it's all made here. And so our vision for 27 North is from start until forever, even on the production side, everything to be in-house manufactured.
That's incredible. And what are like the benefits of doing everything in-house?
So first and foremost, the impact on your local community.
Mhm.
You're not outsourcing overseas. You're bringing jobs to your local community. You're
yeah.
providing opportunities. We've had employees here come and they're like, wow, this company has had a multi-generational impact on our family. I think that's the most important one for me. Second is you have control of quality and supply chain. You know, when the pandemic hit, and all these manufacturers were reliant on other suppliers. Well, pandemic hit and everyone is wiped out, and now nobody can build product. Us having full control of that, if and when the next supply chain challenge comes, whether it's a world war or pandemic, we have full control of the entire manufacturing process.
That's incredible. And obviously quality plays a big role in it too, right? It's not like made in China quality. It's made in America quality.
Exactly. Exactly. These are our wall panels. They're all aluminum as well, so they don't absorb scent. They don't stain. They're not going to hold hair on them.
Yeah.
They're not going to sag. They're not going to wear and tear. I mean, it's aluminum. It's rugged aluminum with a solid core. 2,000 years from today, the inside of your RV is going to look the same way as the day when you bought it. Right this way is where the action starts. So in this garage door is where the van arrives. It arrives as a cargo van. And so it's completely stripped. We're still the only one in the industry that strips all the OEM plastics, including the mud flaps, the fender flares, the bumper, the grill. It all gets stripped and sent to our paint shop offsite, completely covered in adventure skin. And so by the time it reaches the end, it's, you know, it looks really nice. But traditionally, within a year, if you're out in the sun and climates, this OEM plastic will get UV burn and it starts to fade and look like a cheap Amazon van.
Yeah.
And I was in one of these forums of a competitor's van, and I was looking at it, and there's customers taking blow torches to it, you know, like stadium bleachers, trying to refinish it, spray painting. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? Bought a $250,000 van and you're taking a blowtorch to make the plastics look real. And so there's a special treatment that we treat the plastic, then we do like a prime base, and then we do multiple coats of adventure skin on it. And so rocks, chips, and 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, it's gonna look as nice as when it left the factory.
Yeah, I think that's very important, obviously, for yourself, because you're thinking about the longevity of it and it's higher quality, it's actually going to last. But also, you're buying a Mercedes, you got to maintain the high quality standards, right?
Exactly. So Bay 1 is where everything gets stripped. As it transitions here, we run our own wiring, and then we use premium cables. So we don't use any of that cheap knockoff overseas made wire that's commonly used in the industry. We use a high quality marine grade and then residential and commercial wiring throughout. And we make all our own wiring harnesses, and we don't impede on the OEM wiring. Another thing that's really unique about us is we cover the wheel wells. So doing just some basic noise readings and heat readings, we found that about 60% of the noise comes from the wheel wells. So we cover them in this kill mat from the inside, factory covered from the outside, and then we build our boxes around there. So when you're traveling inside, if you're sitting back here, you can have a conversation with someone in the front, or if you're driving in the front, you can have a conversation without it being really noise and rattly.
I can't even do that in a car sometimes. Seriously, when you're going down the highway.
It's pretty bad.
And a lot of people, like, I'm sure we're going to get into this too. Obviously, you minimize the rattling and the squeaking. I'm sure it's barely even noticeable in your RV, but no one's thinking about where the actual noise is coming from, right? So it's really cool to see you guys do that.
And that's just the first layer. It'll get 3 layers of different materials that we use in order to minimize that sound. Through here, we pull out the seats. We reupholster our own seats in the front, and we make our own cushions in the back. Another really unique thing about what we do is our moldings and covers for the ABC pillar, and then the roof line is all molded pillars, and they attach the OEM bolt holes. And so if you ever need to disassemble to service your lock here, or the tail lights, it comes off the OEM clips and bolts, and you take it off like an OEM molding. It's not ripping apart your RV.
That's cool, because obviously if you need servicing, it makes it a lot easier in the future.
As you can see, cleanliness is big for us. One of the companies we benchmark from is Amazon. And so we'll take tours at Amazon, and it's really unique. Like even garbage disposal. So every trash can's got its own region and area that it's got to be. The mops, the brooms. You don't realize is if you can become 1% better every day. You know, people ask me, Paul, why do you guys have so much information and so much energy used to trash can placement? And my philosophy is here at 27 North, and what's made us very successful is don't try to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already out there. No need to reinvent the bicycle. It's already created. You know, the wheel can only get so perfectly. Rather, enhance its performance. Find out how to make it go faster. Find out how to make it better. Well, a lot of times people get discouraged because it's like, well, how do you make a bicycle perform better? Find 1% increments that you can do. You can have zero investment money. You can be the Wright brothers working out of a garage or myself, but you can become 1% better. You don't need money to become 1% better. And if you do that every day and you do that for a year, you're 365 times better. That's 365 X, like multiple. And so for us, all the little details are important. From the steps into the van, where we place the trash can, how we dispose of our trash, the climate controlled environment, making sure the humidity in our facilities is controlled to enhance the workspace technicians are working in, hearing aid protection, eye protection, gloves, like all these 1% things that seem not important or relevant to the industry and our competitors is what really differentiates us and sets us apart.
You know, my football coach would always tell me it's the little things that count, right? And so like he's saying, all the little things, they add up to create a much higher quality product. And then for you as a buyer, a much, much better experience. I mean, just look at how much quality and effort is going into just keeping the shop at high standards. Now, obviously, all of that is going to reflect into the final venture van as well. So that's really cool.
Most definitely. So moving over here to the next phase. Here at the next phase, something that you'll notice is our subfloor. So it's essentially a refrigerator truck floor. And so it's a high dense poly board. And so you can even drive a forklift on it and just fine. And then we have a industrial grade mat that adheres to it. And so, you know, my vision from the start, if you come in with muddy boots, you come in with a pet, you come in with your skis, your snowboards, it's not going to damage your floor. Like you can drive a forklift on this, you'll be fine. Like you can spill some water, it's not going to warp and get destroyed.
It's at the end of the day, these are adventure vans. Like people are using them outside. And so it's one of my pet peeves. I've stayed in some people's vans and you walk in and then all the mud gets everywhere and then it spreads so fast and it's so difficult to clean. It's like, and you're in such a small space. So it's like, you're basically your whole van's dirty at that point once you get one little section.
Exactly. And then in addition, not only is it waterproof and going to last 3-4 generations, it also has a thermal rating to keep it floors warm. So in the dead of the winter and you're walking on this, it's not going to be frigid cold. Lastly, also acts as an insulation or noise barrier. So what helps us keep the noise inside so quiet and under control is actually our subfloor.
That's amazing.
So as you can see, the wire harness gets installed here. Everything is labeled on both ends and throughout. So if you ever have an issue down the road, it's very serviceable. It's very manageable. If you want to upgrade, modify it, you're not stuck to one particular layout. You can make those modifications almost like a DIY. So if you want to reconfigure something, you're not stripping or tearing apart your entire RV. You can easily do that. We had a customer recently come to our user experience and wanted to swap out some cabinets. I mean, it was a couple hours. They pulled out the old one, put in the new one. You know, then it involved stripping or tearing apart your entire
That's
RV.
really cool. One of the things I'm noticing is that you got like different labels for bays, and then it looks like the vans keep driving up as they're being built, right?
Yeah, so we have about 9 bays in the production line. They shift right now roughly every 8 to 10 hours. And so about every day and a half, we see a van leaving the facility.
So you build a van a day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a van a day is about what we're running right now. This facility is capable of doing up to 3 vans a day. And then our new factory will be able to do 10 plus vans a day.
That's incredible, man.
Thank you. Another little thing that is that 1% that sets us apart is making sure every technician has a fatigue mat. I, in college, did an internship at a big home improvement store, and I personally had firsthand experience. Even with a nice set of tennis shoes, walking on cement all day, you come home and your feet hurt so bad. And so I introduced in this home improvement store fatigue mats, especially for like the cashiers and managers that are standing in one place. And we carry that philosophy here. So every technician gets their own fatigue mat where they spend the most amount of time.
Yeah.
So it's not as hard on their ankles and their knees.
Yeah, and it even goes into your lower back.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people who have lower back pain because they have tiles in their house.
Exactly.
And this is
Exactly.
concrete, right?
Yeah. So as we continue into the insulation and window jambs, something that I'd like to highlight here is we fabricate our own injected window frame. So this window frame is a mold injected one. It doesn't have any seams. And so you can see here, it's a rugged material that's not going to get destroyed by the UV, the sun and the coldness.
Yeah.
And then if you ever do have a leak or moisture come down the window because of drastic changes in temperatures, it's not going to rot away your window frames, which is, believe it or not, a huge problem in our space.
Yeah.
And then we adhere it to the aluminum wall panel.
Yeah.
So you can have 4 inches of standing water because you forgot to close your window when it started raining. You stick a towel, get that water out, air it out, and you're good. It's not going to rot. It's not going to deteriorate. That's what I call a return on your investment.
100%. And it feels like you factored in pretty much everything. And so I want to ask you, like, because these are things not even buyers are thinking about until like 2-3 years.
I had a service center. I've serviced hundreds of RVs. I was a certified warranty center for a lot of big players, and just hands-on day in and day out. We were open Christmas, we were open Thanksgiving, spending so much time servicing other people's problems. I've made a list of everything that I would do if I ever built an RV. Well, fast forward years later, I had an opportunity to build an RV. And so we put this thought into every single piece and every single component of our RVs.
That's amazing. And so having serviced so many different vans, what would you say is like the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to buying a new van?
The biggest mistake they make is buying a brand and not looking at the product. That mistake is made across every industry.
Oh, yeah.
Look at right now, expensive purses, right? Go on TikTok. There's a couple of guys that take these high-end expensive purses and they tear it apart.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be some cheap, low quality build. Why not go to your local downtown area, find your local leather workers, craftsmen, and have your local leather craftsmen make you a nice wallet. Go on Etsy, support your local businesses, if not in your state, in the next state. And that's a philosophy I want to carry into our products and everything that we do here.
100%. And that's another thing that I've been noticing as well in the industry. You hinted at it a little bit, but there's a lot of big brands, big players in the space that have been in the space for multiple decades. And yes, they're the biggest, but they don't have the highest quality product, right? So it's incredible to see people like Pavel and his team at 27North actually taking the industry forward rather than just keeping it where it is, right?
Exactly.
And so that's the biggest lesson, like actually do research on the van that you're buying. Go on the forums, go read the reviews before you buy it so that you can actually see what happens after the purchase rather than just walking into a dealership and getting sold by a salesman, right?
Yeah. I always say, whether you're buying a home, clothes, anything expensive or of value to you, look at where it was built.
Yeah.
And you will know the quality that stands behind it. Our technicians didn't even know you're here. They didn't even know you were coming. I honestly forgot. I just remembered the other day. But this isn't staged. Like, come in here during production, end of production, anytime, and look at the quality that we carry throughout here. And that resonates in what we build.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, my garage isn't disorganized.
So the next thing I want to highlight is our insulation. We use a faced insulation made by 3M, and so it doesn't sag. Similar to a residential property, the reason they use faced insulation is so that over the decades, it doesn't fall into your walls. So what keeps it up is this faced film on here. And then we adhere it to the van. So not only is it adhered to the van, it's got this face that then the aluminum panel goes up against. So even if 10, 20 years down the road, the adhesion loses its strength, the aluminum panel will keep this pressed up. Unlike traditional RVs, unfortunately, down your first road trip, a lot of times when they reach the dealership, the insulation is already in the cabinet and your upper cavity of your wall is already empty. And that's where the most heat is coming in and out. So that's the most important area to be covered. And then as you see the wheel well covers, the second layer that it gets is this 3M Finsulate. And so that's the second layer that goes over the wheel well.
That's amazing.
So on one side here, we have our sub-assembly, and the other side, we have the main assembly. So let's just cut through the sub-assembly. Here, as you can see, is our plumbing sub-assembly. There's a lot of really unique things. One is we have a SKU system. So we have an accurate count of all of our inventory during production. We don't have to do a year-end count. Everything is skewed and live tracked throughout the entire production process, ensuring that every component that's allocated for the van goes for that RV. I remember so many times in our service center, RVs would arrive missing key components, like brand new RVs would be missing key components. And so that's the beauty of having a skewed system. It keeps track of everything.
Awesome. So basically, basically the systems like the plumbing, the electrical are built, assembled here, and then they're just put into the van.
Exactly. So here is our electrical. We make our own panels, like even the electrical panels, as you can see, we make it all in-house. And then this is CNC'd on here, so it's not a sticker. You know, an issue you have with traditional RVs is they put a bunch of stickers and it wears and tears. Here it's lasered onto this commercial grade material, and so even 50 years down the road it'll still all here be at this highest quality. Our electrical boxes and our plumbing boxes, whatever unit you look at, they have a template for where they place each fuse, so it's copy and paste both on the plumbing and on the electrical, and it keeps service and warranty work very easy to do. So I'm going to show you right here a unit that's in production, and then a unit towards the end of production, and a completed unit.
Awesome. Let's see it.
So look at the electrical here, the placement of all the fuses. You got the fuse panel here, the turn off switch there, everything is placement. And then I'm going to show you one that's already been completed.
That's incredible. It's very, very organized. It's very satisfying to look at, you know, because there's not wires going everywhere in multiple different directions.
Wait until you see one that's
You
completed.
could see every single wire is labeled here.
Yeah,
too.
on both ends and on the wire itself, so that down the road, if you ever want to upgrade or modify something, you're able to do that. Our countertops, we use bamboo. The benefit of using bamboo is not only can you refinish it, it's natural, and so it gives a really pleasant smell. Unlike traditional RVs, once that sun gets really hot, what does it smell like? Plastics. And it has that RV, I call it stench or smell to it.
Yeah.
Ours, I wanted whenever you sit into it for it to smell really nature-like. So even our toilet, we make a cedar plank subfloor for it, so that whenever water hits it or you're sitting on the toilet, what I call the throne, it has that cedar smell to it and not breathing in fumes from the plastic.
It's basically like the new car smell, but obviously
Exactly.
in an RV, which is more nature-focused.
Exactly. Here, we continue to do the suspension upgrades. We install our own windows here on site. This is what it looks like with that adventure skin I was telling you about.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
It looks way better than what how Mercedes does
Oh,
it.
most definitely. Yeah. And it's rugged. The product is most commonly used in bed liner. So for the bed of a commercial truck. So if you come in here and look, this is, you know, coming towards the end of production. I think we are in bay 6, all copy and paste placement.
Oh yeah.
And then same thing on here, it's all plug and play. So if you ever have an issue with your DC to DC charger, your solar charger, it's all plug and play components. So
Exactly.
someone who's got minimal knowledge can come in here and swap out a key component.
I mean, your team can probably jump on the phone with them and go like, look for that one wire.
Exactly. And we know the exact placement of it. We run all our electrical on one side, and then we run all of our plumbing on the other side. So if you ever have any electrical issues or plumbing issues, the water's not going on the electrical system. And which is, believe it or not, a common problem in the industry. Crazy. That's 120 years later, no one's, you know, solved it. So we move all of our plumbing on this side. You got your water tank, you got your hot water heater, your water pump. Same thing, copy and paste, the placement, the layout. If you need to swap out your water tank, we've had customers use a military bag, so you can increase by about 10, 15 gallons. That's all plug and play components. If you have an issue with your water level sensor, you're not stripping and tearing apart your RV. It's right here, plug and play, 5 Phillips head screws. You pull it out, unplug it, plug in the new one, you're done. You don't need to sit in an RV service center for 8 months. And you don't need to strip your RV or take off your underbelly or break it apart. You know,
that's really, really important because yeah, we're talking about problems. Some of them may happen a year, 2 years later, but honestly, it's not just my opinion. You can search this stuff online and go look at it. There's literally people who drive off the dealership lot and their shower handles fall off. I was talking to a couple, they spent, I think, $200,000 on a brand new van from a professional builder. And literally a week into their first adventure, their electrical system starts smoking. I mean, imagine that, right? You're going off on your first adventure with your husband and all of a sudden now your van needs to go into a service center, in which case it's going to take another 1, 2, 3 weeks. And these stories, like I said, they're not unique. They're not just like, oh, it happens sometimes, you get unlucky. It's extremely, extremely common. And that's why we show you the behind the scenes of how these vans are built so that you can feel confident, you can know the quality and the effort that goes into building these.
Yeah, I couldn't word it any better. And having that hands-on experience for years, servicing RVs, brand new RVs, used RVs, 10-year-old RVs, seeing all these common issues is what helped us lay the groundwork for what we do. These are those pillars I was telling you about. See how they blend in with the OEM?
Yeah.
So it's not exactly, it's not made out of wood or MDF and it's not going to fall apart and rattle. It's a molded and then it's wrapped in this really high quality material. So not only does it absorb vibration, meaning it's not going to rattle when you're driving, but it also helps insulate from the climates as well.
And the other thing I'm noticing is like, I mean, we're not even looking at the completed van yet, but
Yeah.
everything is very, very nicely finished. You're not seeing random screws. Like I've seen other builders, they have like some screws up there and they're all at different points and it just looks ugly. When you're spending this kind of money, you want quality, you want it to look good, you want to have a good experience, right? You want to feel good about it. And it looks like you guys are doing that very well.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And then as we continue to the very end, we use overlanding style lights. So we don't use any of those cheap little wall mount lights. You know, you turn this on and it's like a Christmas tree or football stadium. I always like that. I remember in the movies, you know, when the football stadium lights come on, it goes, doo, doo. That's the kind of vision I had for this. So when you turn these on, I mean, it's spotlight all around.
Wow.
The only issue we've had was they're too bright. So we had one customer of hundreds of customers ask if we could downgrade the lights a little bit, but everyone else loves it. It becomes a Starlink. And then you have double the industry standard solars on the roof. We upgrade the suspension. So one more thing, like even the license plate cover, the mud flaps, we cover it all. Like every component is covered in this protective adventure skin.
Yeah, because all of those things, they get beat up the most, right?
They get beat up, they get burned by UV rays, chips, rocks, etc. On the front, we do a winch plate cover skid plate. And so you could either do a winch or the skid plate. Most come standard with a skid plate. We carry through the OEM sensors, and then we do big Baja lights on the front here, and then a light bar on the top.
This looks so cool, by the way.
Right,
I saw
look
what
at
it
the
looked like
grill.
before, and this is the after. This is like, it's so shiny. It feels like you're at a jewelry store.
Yeah. And it carries that through and through.
100%.
Over here we have QC. So these are our finished products. Every unit goes through a 300-point inspection. And so we inspect and check 300 different points on it. That's that cedar plank I was telling you about for the toilets. So anytime you're back here taking a shower or using the throne, it has that cedar, nice, natural smell to it. And then our garages are modular. So you can do removable shelves, you can do skis, snowboards, e-bikes. It's got an outlet there to charge, etc.
I love that.
Thank you.
Very flexible because you could pretty much do whatever you want. And this is a huge amount of storage for a van.
And then over here, let's take a look inside of one that's already been completed. So the Venture Together floor plan. Here it's got the bench seat for two. It brings the kitchen and divides it into here. We decided to put the refrigerator on this side so that you can access it from inside and outside, just consumer feedback. That's another really cool thing is we take our Facebook group and online forums very serious. And we don't wait till the next model year change. So if a explorer out there has a really cool idea, we implement it mid-production.
That's amazing.
Once again, I promise this is the last one I'll show you. Electrical.
Looks even cleaner now.
And then plumbing, copy and paste, all on one side.
Amazing.
And then in here, same thing. Very accessible, very easy. You're not tearing apart your cabinetry to access a module within your electrical system.
That's awesome. And as I walked in here, like it just feels so amazing. It smells really good. The lighting is literally perfect. You want to talk about the lighting in here?
Yeah, so the lighting, I love. There's a couple of boat manufacturers, or I should say yacht manufacturers in Florida. And they use sealed LEDs. And one of two reasons for that. First reason is to keep the climates from getting in there and eroding them. And the second reason is LEDs are really hard on the light. And so not only does it seal it from the climates, it makes it a soft light. And then in addition, they are dimmable. So you can press it and dim it. And then if it's in the evening, you can turn off the top ones and then have your under cabinet lights. So that's not hard on your eyes. So in the evening, imagine, you know, you're in the evening reading a book or something and look how it looks.
This is really cool. It's like
the vibe is.
I love the lighting, honestly, and then even the reflective ceiling. Makes it feel so much more spacious than here.
Yeah, that's the reason we did the aluminum ceiling. Is not only for it being aluminum and super reliable. See the reflection? It makes it feel more open, so you're not as claustrophobic.
It literally feels like you're walking into like a luxury showroom, you know? I don't know if you've seen maybe like the Tesla showrooms and stuff like that. That's what it feels like in here.
That's the last of the Rex Rovers. I don't really want to talk about it since we're not building them anymore, but if you wanted to see, this is the last one out of production. And then the Trekker's taking over.
The Trekker, what's the difference between the...
So it's a couple feet longer and it's built on the Ram 5500 chassis. So what we learned is a lot of customers want to tow. The 350, you can't tow on it. And we can't do the 550 because it's competing with the Ascender. And so we switched to the Ram. Over here, we have our technician area. So everything is streamlined, automated. Technicians sign in on an iPad. They can live track their paychecks, their benefits, their taxes. They can interact with HR. Each one gets 11 uniforms. And then we do the laundry for them as well. And every day, they get 2 fresh outfits. And so at lunch, they can swap out their shirt. If they're hot and sweaty, they can swap out the shirt and have a fresh shirt. Or in the evening, if they want to come home in a fresh outfit, they can take off their dirty shirt and come home in a nice, clean, fresh shirt.
I mean, the way you're treating your employees, I want to work here. Are you hiring?
Another cool thing, we let our technicians design our first aid kits. So we have some technicians that have like sugar problems, blood pressure problems. So we got glucose bars, we got blood pressure medicine, allergy medicine, eye drops, Tylenol. I mean, everything that you would ever need. I call it our mini Walgreens here.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's really taking care of everyone.
And then in here we have our break room. Similar concept. I remember at our old place I came in and there was a line of technicians to the microwave. And I'm like, there's 2 microwaves. Why are you guys using one? And they're like, the breaker keeps flipping. And I'm like, no, we can't do that. So I worked personally with our builder and we ran 12 individual circuits here.
Oh, wow.
And so we can run 6, 7 microwaves and then all the coffee machines plus all at the same time. And in addition, chargers. And so we never have to worry about it flipping a breaker or them wasting time waiting in line to use the microwave. They all get their own microwave.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you're working all day and you're hungry, you're waiting
to wait
for lunch.
6, 7, 10 minutes to use the microwave.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, it's those 1% things.
100%.
Like if you take those 1% thing, then they get their own thermostat. And so they control their own temperature. So if they want it cooler or hotter, and then also humidity controlled as well. So this is like the perfect place just to reset. Something else that we did is desks. We found that a lot of our technicians, they either have a side hustle or just want to spend their own time. And so we ran out of space here. The new factory will have even more space, but we put desks. And a lot of times we'll see them sitting at a desk working on a side hustle or doing something online or watching a video, just, wanting their own little personal working.
That's awesome. That's the other thing about Pablo. He's incredibly supportive of people who have side hustles and businesses. I mean, even myself, he's mentored me. He's helped me get to the point that I'm at with Project Vanlife. We have 4 million followers and he's helped me a ton. So honestly,
I appreciate it, man. It's growing up and, being bullied a lot through middle school and high school. I had firsthand experience of what it feels like not being helped.
Yeah.
And so talking to my professor in social psychology in college, she said that people that had it hard growing up react one of 2 ways. They either become a bigger, bad, worse bully, or they overcompensate, become really nice. And she's like, you're very lucky in the sense that you are overcompensating to be nice. There's enough opportunities out there for everyone. And I actually encourage our staff, our technicians to start their own businesses, to start their own ventures, especially for those that have a big vision and have just been scared to take that next step.
It just feels so cool walking into this and then seeing all of this.
Yeah. You know what my favorite area is to stand? Right here.
Yeah, because you see all of them lined up.
Yeah. And then during the day, whenever I need inspiration, I come and I stand right here. And you can just watch people going in and out of vans. I wish you came on a work day.
Yeah.
Such a cool vibe, just standing here and watching.
Imagine
back and forth.
And everything is like so perfectly done here,
Yeah.
Very well organized.
Thank you. One other thing that was important for me in regards to employee relations is a locker for everyone. And so they each get their own parking number and locker that's labeled with their name. For me, I just remember being the last kid picked on a team and not getting my own locker. So as a float, you don't get your own locker. And so I made a promise that one day all my kids are going to get their own locker and all our staff are going to get their own locker. It's just a part of the experience here. You're on a team.
100%.
And, being a part of the team, every team member, whether you're part-time afloat or just the maintenance guy here, you get your own locker that's labeled with your own personal.
That's amazing, yeah. It's like you took your own personal experiences and the things that you didn't like from, the career that you had, and you made sure that your team has everything that they need to the highest of standards so that they're comfortable and so that they can perform obviously way better. And then what that means for the customer is that they're getting a much better product because the people who are building it, they're satisfied, they're happy, they're not miserable in here, they're not sweating.
I mean, we'll touch the coal mine era.
Yeah.
Another 1% difference for us is the TV screen that we put here. So here on the TV screen, not only is it a 1%, but every slide is 1%. And so it tells you our vision. It tells you our leadership board. It tells you who the employee of the month is. And this just circulates throughout the day and really brings a better sense of purpose for our staff to where they're not feeling like they're coming to a traditional workshop every day and going home. It gives them a better sense of, hey, we're a team and we want to recognize you for the success that you've been.
That's incredible. Yeah.
All our offices here have windows. So we have safety there. We have production manager and VP of operations here, and then warranty there. They all have windows to the production floor so they can see it live as it's being built, as it's being done.
That's amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for showing us around, Pavel. Everything in here, like I said, it's pristine quality, very high standards. And like I said, that's going to translate into your confidence in actually purchasing a venture van or any of the other products that 27 North sells, right? And so I want to thank you, Pavel, for showing us around. Is there any final words you want to say?
Just my advice and words to you is the same advice I give myself. Don't rush into making any decisions and do due diligence. Don't buy a brand, buy a product, buy the team that made the product.
Exactly. 100%. Thank you so much for showing us around. You've built an incredible company. Thank you.